On a cold and windy day in mid-February 1891, an elaborate funeral was held in New York City for General of the Army William Tecumseh Sherman. All the important people were there. Among them were President Benjamin Harrison, former Presidents Rutherford B. Hayes and Grover Cleveland, and 30,000 troops, including the entire Corps of Cadet from West Point. One of the honorary pallbearers, present at Sherman's previous request, was an unlikely member, Joseph Eggleston Johnston, a one-time general of the Confederate States of America, and Sherman's fierce antagonist. The two men, with a 14-year difference in their ages, had fought hard against each other during the Civil War. But in later years, they had developed a warm friendship, working together to repair the Union that had been rent asunder between the years 1861 and 1865. Johnston's friends were worried about him, for despite the icy winds, his 84 years of age, and frail health, he insisted on remaining bareheaded throughout the ceremony. Johnston would have none of his friends' protests. "If I were in Sherman's place, and he were standing in mine, he would not put on his hat." A month later, Johnston died of pneumonia, presumably the result of exposure at Sherman's funeral. Johnston's affection for Sherman, expressed at risk to himself, was contrary to the feelings of his fellow Southerners. Sherman's name, in fact, still stands as a symbol of the destruction he visited on their lands while marching from Atlanta to Savannah in late 1864. The contrast between those who knew him as a warm and somewhat sensitive man and those who knew him only by the measures he took in war characterizes the contrasts of Sherman's life. He was a man who hated war and all it stood for, but whose duty, as he saw it, called for measures designed to finish off a failing enemy. Sherman came from a prominent family, but little in his ancestry indicated that one day he would be recognized as one of the nation's most brilliant generals. If anything, his background should have led him to the legal profession. He was born in 1820 in Lancaster, Ohio, to Charles Sherman, Esquire, and his wife, Mary Sherman. Charles Sherman was a distinguished lawyer, a member of the Ohio Supreme Court. The Sherman family had come from Essex County, England, in two groups. William Sherman's family came to Connecticut in 1636. A cousin, Roger Sherman, had been a signer of the Declaration of Independence. The boy's grandfather, Taylor Sherman, had moved out to the West and settled in Ohio. Charles R. Sherman, William's father, had moved his family to Lancaster, Ohio, just in time to get involved in the War of 1812, fought between the United States and Great Britain. For some reason, he had become an ardent admirer of the statesmanlike qualities of the Shawnee chief Tecumseh, even though Tecumseh had fought on the British side. As a result, Charles Sherman named the son, born in 1820, William Tecumseh, which the family quickly abbreviated to the nickname of Cump. Cump's boyhood, as with so many others in days when many people died young, was uprooted in 1829. When he was 9 years old, his father suddenly passed away, leaving his widow Mary practically penniless and saddled with a family of 11 children. Of these, 2 had grown up and had left home, but Mary, with 9 still to care for, was faced with starvation. Deciding to keep the youngest 3 at home, she gave up 6. Fortunately, those 6 were kindly taken in to be raised by friends and relatives.